Yo, how's it going, Mathmech players? Welcome back to another Mathmech Code Talker video. I hope everyone's doing really well today, and I hope you're doing really well in the second round of the DLV Cup. So, with that in mind, the whole point of this video is actually I just wanted to showcase some of the games that I've had. So, I've had 9 wins so far. I had an 8-win streak. I literally just lost my most recent game. So, I won a game, lost a game, won 8, and then I lost my most recent game because of Psychic End Punisher. It was Access 8, and I should have anticipated what I was playing against, but I was too slow to the ball, and yeah, he got out Pep, and Pep is just impossible to out because, well, essentially we'd have to lose life points, and we're not really built for the grind game, Mathmech. So very, very unfortunate, but look, it is what it is, and we'll do better in future. But right now, I'll just jump into the replays and I'll commentate where I feel like there has been. So yeah, the reason I want to show this is because there's actually been some useful stuff to kind of take into account here. So firstly, with Maxi, I find that a lot of content creators are saying do not shotgun Maxi because they think you're just being greedy for that extra draw. But the reason I do it is because I don't want to activate triple tactics talent because thrust is inevitable if you activate it whenever. But with talents, a very common move is for them to just look at your hand. And if you look at our hand now, we have circular and this. So one, Nibiru will no longer be playable because he's not going to play into it, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, without circular, now we just have microcoder and parallel exceed. So we can summon summon microcoder, link it off, and then bring out parallel exceed. But they know the plays now, so they know what they need to interrupt. And one Ash is all it takes to stop this, and we won't be able to OTK. Like, we won't even be able to build, like, you know, an M board compared to if we went first, and you know, so it is really unfortunate. I do think that sucks, but that is the reason why I don't activate Maxi in the main phase. But look, if you disagree with me, then by all means, look, it's your game. You play how you want to play. Don't let me influence you if you don't want to. But this is why I do. I'm just letting you know the reason why I'm doing it. So, and I prefer to kind of dodge that scenario. It really sucks when it happens. So anyway, yeah, he does want to play into Maxi, so smart play. No other choice. And even, oh look, Nibiru, that would be crazy for us right now. Oh yeah, I forgot about this game. Okay, so you're gonna notice that I do something really stupid. So putting deck lockdown to stop Maxi doesn't work. I've even pointed out myself that Maxi is not affected by this. I think I just had a brain dead moment and didn't think about it properly, and it basically just nerfed us because parallel exceed was not able to summon a duplicate of itself. He negates splash. He keeps drawing into effect veiler, which was crazy. So he negates splash mage, so I can't bring anything back, but I do the right thing, bring transcode, and then bring out Splash Mage, and it can reactivate its effect because it's been resummoned, so that's absolutely fine. So easy, we go into Terahertz, and it was just simple from that. But look at all the cards in this hand, crazy. And look, no one ever reads Terahertz effect. That is hilarious. You're going to see this as a running theme within the upcoming replays, but everyone tries to Ash Terahertz in the battle phase, and no one reads it. Like, everyone knows about access code because that's been around for so long, and it's a very common OTK line because you clear the board and you shoot with access code and other cards that you have, but no one ever knows about Terahertz. So use that to our advantage, guys, because people are idiots. So that's fun to play. And I don't mean to be arrogant, but it's just true. Like, read the cards, like, know what you're negating. But anyway, this is a branded and branded and cash Tira player. I don't really see this blend very often. Now, the reason I use impermanence quite early is because I only have one impermanence. I don't have Nibiru. So if I had Nibiru, I would just keep like letting him summon more and more. But unfortunately, because I only have one impermanence, it means that I'd have to use it on either Arise Heart or Shangri-Era, and I can't afford that because obviously we're going to use it on the Arise Heart, so nothing gets banished. But on the other hand, his Shangri-Era would just summon either Fenrir or Unicorn, and when it triggers the effect of Shangri-Era, the field spell will just pop a card that we have. So we really can't afford that, and it's just truly unfortunate. So anyway, oh yeah, and the reason I play, by the way, Sign It Backdoor, at the minute I'm finding it way better than Small World. Like, Small World obviously is a fantastic searching card for many decks, and particularly Mathmech. But the only reason I would keep it in is if I needed to get to Kurikara, and I haven't. Like, it's just one of those things where I haven't really needed to use it yet. So, but it is what it is. Like, once that, you know, situation comes, and it will, then I will, you know, feel bad for myself. But within this situation, look, I dodged the negation, not negation, but I dodged the banishment of Fenrir and add a diameter to my hand. He does get a draw from it, which doesn't really matter. Like, I'm playing under Maxi anyway. Like, you're going to notice a lot of players just fire Maxi at me, and I'm just playing for no reason. He does, I was quite surprised he used this so early, but obviously he doesn't know what's in my hands, so he thought he was ending a play. Sigma can just summon itself anyway. Now, I didn't need to go into Alan Bershin. I think I miscalculated how many extenders I have, and yeah, I realized I have to use Alan Bershin anyway, so I didn't need to go into him. I could have just kept playing into Splash Mage and then continue from there. And then it's as simple as this, but... Oh, I thought I was going to terahertz. I'm not. So one thing you want to bear in mind... Oh, sorry about that. I just clicked to the very end. Oh, yeah, the 30-second thing is here. So one thing that I think you should know is Code Generator is a great OTK line for us if we're in a desperate situation like this, because we're under max E, I have no choice but to shoot for game, and he has a defense position monster. So off of Code Generator, I didn't need to resummon Splash Mage here. I can just summon access code, send multiplication, and then double access code into 10,600. That's a huge body. Get rid of Fenrir, and then we just shoot once per game. It's clear. And he doesn't even stay for it. But the reason why it's so risky is because Code Generator's effect is protected by access code, but multiplication is not. So if he had Called by the Grave on the field, then yeah, we would not have had like the double attack boost, and we wouldn't have been able to actually shoot the game. Like, we would have done damage, but not enough to OTK, and we need to, because you saw how many cards he had in his hand. Like, that was ridiculous. Like, look at all those cards. Like, that is ridiculous. So either way, he left because he knew that he had nothing, and yeah, we managed to win. But anyway, that's game number 2. Let's jump straight into game number 3. Oh, you can see I was playing Apex at the bottom. That's funny. Yeah, so deck lockdown going first. I love to see it. I'm actually playing 3 of this card at the minute. I was playing 2 in all of these replays, but I'm going to bump it up because I want to see it every single time. It's just such an amazing card. And I'll kind of go on to that in a moment. But just seeing how it fends off against other decks like Kashtira. Really good against Kashtira. I've kind of upped my opinion about how it fends off against that archetype. Because he essentially cannot use Theosis, he cannot use the field spell, he cannot use the Pathfinder to get to the field spell. Like, it's all just useless, you can't do anything. Like, so I'm counting on these are probably Pot of Prosperity, the field spell, anything else. Like, he can't summon anything else. So this is preparations. Yep, preparations to summon, which I think is Unicorn. And I don't get a very good draw off Maxi, so it really was kind of shit. And maybe take this to advantage as well. A lot of Kashtira players do not know the effect of terahertz being like OTK. So this guy definitely learned a lesson today, because I don't know why he went for Heat Soul. We didn't even think about going into Heat Soul. Everything was about going into terahertz, milling multiplication, and just, you know, shooting once per game. Like, that was always the case. I'm even tempted to play 2 in case I come against a very smart Kashtira player. And then, yeah, look, standard theme, Ash. I always expect Ash now, because it gets triggered in the... it always gets triggered when I activate this effect, so I always assume he's going to do it anyway. So, and there we go. Simple. That's another win under the belt. And we'll move straight on to game number 4. So, let's see who we played against here. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. This one, there's no interruptions, so I'm just going to allow it to go to the end board and explain why this replay was, well, impactful. Also, I tried to make a play here, learn from me, so I do not have enough bodies to go into terahertz and Heat Soul. I made a huge mistake here. So, and when I bring on Heat Soul, before I let him draw, I'm going to explain why this is important. Okay, so now he's going to trigger his effect, so draw a card. So my opponent knows that I have Silent Conflict in hand and Super Factorial, because it shows them when you search for them and then add them to your hand, right? Now he's willing to stay in the game, because a lot of players now are realizing they can play through both of these, because Silent Conflict is no longer a secret, it's now a card to be prepared for. So all he needs to do is bait out this with something significant, whether it's, you know, board destruction, back row destruction, and then we have to use it, unfortunately. And then on the other hand, once he's done this, Super Factorial is quite vulnerable to Ghost Spell, Kaijus, sorry, not Kaiju, what am I talking about? I always get these mixed up. Bestials, Ghost Spell, and Call by the Grave. Very vulnerable to all 3 because Lablation's a huge effect here, and they will always get rid of Diameter, so we won't even get that negate. It will just be a useless 2 extra bodies on the board, right? So the reason why I bring this up is because now that I've joined into deck lockdown, and he's read the effect, he's clearly had cards that he needed to add other ones from his deck, and he just left straight away. This is why I play this card, guys, because essentially this is a point grind. I want my opponent to feel like it's impossible to play against us and leave immediately. I don't want to sit around and have him figure out if he can do it and then we eventually win. I want him to leave. Like, this isn't ranked. Ranked is like a win's a win. But the cup, we want quick wins. We want to be able to bully our opponent and then just get onto the next game and climb the ladder. That's always the aim here. So we're just going to move on to the 5th game. Again, I think this is another standard. He has no interruptions, so I'll just skip into the end of it. And it's a pretty good end board. Like I've obviously put Small World down to bait, you know, the idea that there's an extra card. Oh, and it's Punk. Okay, so I'll be honest, Punk is not really a big threat to Mathmech when we go first, because we have so much to like interfere. So Zeyaman is, you know, we've used Aggregator correctly. We've negated Zeyaman. Now he needs to add another Zeyaman to his hand, and he uses didnt to send Zeyaman to the graveyard and then summon itself. I use Super Factorial because I'm just going to use Laplation to get rid of Zeyaman as, not Zeyaman, sorry, didnt, as well as one more card from hand. And I thought he was going to be left with 2 cards in hand, but because he used Maxi and I have Crossout Designator, I'm going to be able to get rid of everything. So he's going to get 1 card from hand is gone now. didnt's going to be removed, and he sent Zeyaman to the graveyard anyway. So he just has Zeyaman on the board. I'm saying it so many times now, it's sounding weird. But he's going to have only this card on the board, and that's it. I haven't even used my Silent Conflict line, and I don't need to. I'm in a great spot, and yeah, we're all good. So he leaves, and yeah, that's just a pretty standard game. I just wanted to kind of showcase that. This deck with like the full end board can still dominate. But had I had, you know, deck lockdown, he wouldn't have been able to special summon Zeyaman in the first place, or add a different one to hand. Like that just would have been 2 useless cards, because like, being a level 8, this card cannot summon itself so easily. Like, you have to tribute another Punk monster, and from my understanding, he had didnt in hand, and yeah, he was going to struggle basically. So yeah, he was in a tough spot, and it is what it is. We'll move on to the 6th game now. Who's this against? Oh, this is a purely player. So now this game, I really do want to put this as like almost like the thumbnail of the entire footage, because I'm going to talk while I do the combo, because he doesn't interrupt with anything, right? So why I find this is so important is because with deck lockdown, I don't usually get to show you any interaction, because a lot of purely players will just leave. But this guy actually tries to play through it, so you do get to see why they can do absolutely nothing. And I think that's super important in terms of like promoting this card properly. So I will skip this, go to the standard end board that we always have had. Now he ashes me. I could have used Call By, but I wasn't sure what he was playing at this point, so I was going to save it in case he has a Maxi coming up, and yeah, put this in a good spot. Now that I know it's purely, so look, he's committed to the normal summon. He's used the effect to Xyz summon, so I'm just going to banish it. So now he can no longer summon monsters. There are no cards that purely play that can actually special summon themselves other than the quick play spell. Now I just want to quickly note, when he put this down, he took a full 2 minutes to think about, right, why can't I draw a card? Because I'm pretty sure he was just reading this card over and over, going like, right, so I can't even activate the effect to choose a card to add to hand. No, you can't add anything. So he can't add any cards to his hand. And one thing I need to point out here is that I made a statement before saying that Pure Lily would not be able to activate its effect to Xyz summon, because you can't get quick play spells into the graveyard. I was wrong about that, because essentially they can activate the first part of their quick play spells. So if you just see it here, so you can choose a card on the field and it won't be destroyed by card effects the first time, you know, until the end of the next turn, right? So he targets my monster or whatever, but he can't activate the following effect, and you'll see that now. It just goes to the graveyard. Simple as that. So Pure Lily will be something you have to get rid of, but I'm counting on you having Super Factorial anyway, as well as Silent Conflict. And look at that, that was easy. Like, he didn't have a clue what was going on. No one's ever seen this card, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just saying this card is a huge threat, and had he known this card like what it was before, we could have saved a few, I guess, minutes of time, because he took ages to make any plays. So yeah, this is why I played this card. So it just completely locks them out and we're good to go. Anyway, we're going to jump into game number 7. Trying to get through these as quickly as possible, because I want to kind of keep us in a good time frame here. So playing against another purely player. He's playing in the draw phase, so I can't use draw yet. And so he's inevitably going to get this draw. Now he has the trap. We know what we have to stop now. And I don't have anything to stop the trap. And then I'll make a point in a moment when he finishes his turn. So I draw him. He's kind of stuck. Now he has to go into plump and make what I would call a smaller plump, because he can't get any more cards in the graveyard. Yeah, so simple as that. I'm pretty sure this is Maxi. I always get Maxied, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I was right from, you know, jogging my memory. So one thing I want to point out, and this is going to sound quite harsh, so don't take this as a word of law like statement, but in my opinion, the average Kashtira and Purely player are terrible at the game. Like, they don't really think about other plays and how your opponent might negate stuff and when to react. Because in particular, this guy, he let me not only, well, so he let me normal summon, that's standard, but he let me bring out Lingeribo. Like, a lot of smart purely players know that you need to activate the trap in the standby phase, so you get the extra draws. Like, I don't know why. Oh, he drew into Maxi. Okay, so I don't know what this is. But look, so because he's let me go into Lingeribo, I've won the game. Like, that cemented it for me. Because this trap is useless. So unless this is impermanence, which I'm counting that it's not, because and a lot of players are now preparing for Herald of the Abyss, which is smart, but this was a dumb player in my opinion, because he's let me bring out Lingeribo and I don't even have to worry about anything. I have all the natural extenders to get my access code and protect him with transcode talker. But you need to learn a lesson from me in a moment, because I make a really bad mistake in just a moment. So I'll let this kind of play out. There's nothing really to show here apart from the fact that he's just constantly trying to add cards, but it doesn't matter. Like, draw your whole deck and I could care less. So we're going to go to this. I want to show you where I brought access code up. So I've used microcoder from hand and all these as material, which is the right play because you want to have access code co-linked with transcode talker, and this is under update jammer, so he can attack twice, right? Now this is where I made a huge mistake, and please learn from me because I don't want you guys losing because of this reason, because if I had lost for this reason I would have just made a separate video and said, like, but don't be an idiot like me. Okay, so once you get, because we know this is the trap, this is why we have Lingeribo out. Once we delete the trap card, right, now Lingeribo is no longer needed, but we need to be able to keep transcode on the board. What I should have done is summoned subtraction, made Splash Mage or G-Golem, anything that is not a dark or wind attribute link monster, and then banished it, deleted purely using the extra monster we just summoned, delete Plump using Lingeribo, and now we keep these two on board. And why that's so important is because now that they're co-linked, he can't be targeted by card effects. So if he had Effect Veiler, it doesn't even matter. He can't target my cards, so that is a very free and easy win. But because I didn't do that, I had to use transcode, and I was so lucky, because look how many cards he has in his hand. That is crazy. Like, that's the type where you actually have to, like, drag your mouse just to see all your cards in your hand. And I was just very fortunate he didn't have Effect Veiler in hand, because that deck does play Effect Veiler. So I was very fortunate in this case. But learn from me, don't be an idiot. Now, game 8, and then we're almost onto the final one. I'm actually making decent time. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. I love Joel. Okay, so with this, because he's not summoned out a Kashtira monster, he's not going to be able to summon any of the effects of the Kashtira monster. So Kashtira monsters, sorry. So Unicorn wouldn't be able to banish anything from my extra deck. So we're in a pretty good spot. And Joel stops it. So even if he got the field spell to hand, the field spell does nothing. So we are in an amazing spot. And we can just go for game from here. So easy. Yep, so easy. So this is just a standard go into update jammer access code, attack twice per game. It's just so good to have this. I think what I like is Lingeribo. He ashed this, which is crazy because we're winning anyway. So because I had Lingeribo on board, and the fact that he left as soon as access code came out tells me that either one of these was a trap and it was going to get negated, or none of them were traps and completely like bluffs. So yeah, that was a pretty easy game for us, and it's because of Droll. Like, I'm telling you, if you don't play that card now, you have to. It's just insane. Right, okay, so let's see what we have going on here. This is a mirror match against Mathmech, and this will be the last time I try and promote this card, but I don't have deck lockdown, as you can see in my hand, and I don't draw into it under Heat Soul. But as a Mathmech player, he knows that all he has to do is bait out the Signet Conflict and have an interruption for a Super Factorial, and he'll be able to create the correct materials to win the game, basically. And yeah, just having deck locked down in a minute, I can tell you what cards he had in his hand. So he has Multiplication in hand, which really sucks. I've been in his shoes so many times before, because you don't want that card in your hand ever, like, just full stop. He has Signet Mining, he has Small World, he has Mathmech Equation, and he has Thrust. So not a great hand, fine, but I wanted this game to be over quicker than it was. Like, this was quite a long game, and you'll just see how it kind of plays out from here. But had I had deck lockdown on the field, he couldn't use Small World, he won't be able to use Signet Mining either, and Thrust can only put something to the field. And because I have Ash, I can just Ash the Thrust anyway. So 3 cards completely dead. He'd have to go into the Splash Mage play that he's going to make in a minute. And because Splash Mage does not activate its effect on summon, we obviously use Aggregator, negate the effect, and he's done. Like, it's GG's. But obviously, because I don't have deck lockdown, I have to Ash this. So Always Ash Smallwell, by the way, guys, because he could just bring out a Kaiju or a Lava Golem. You don't know what deck he's playing at this point, and losing your board pieces really sucks. Like, really, really sucks. I would use it on this over Signet Mining, if I'm being honest. So yeah, that's done. Can't Kaiju me. He can't Kurikara me. That would be even worse for us, actually. And he tries to max C. So the reason I activate Super Factorial in response to Thrust is because essentially I want to be able to, if by luck, snipe the card that he adds to his hand, or at least have the negate for when he tries to use it. So I think it's triple tactics. And then I negate max C because I just don't want to have any more cards. The fact that he had Small World and I negated it, I felt like he was in a desperate spot because Thrust was the next card he added. So I just took a calculated decision, brought out Lablation, negated the max C, and now we're going to rip a card from his hand. So we don't rip triple tactics, which means I'm going to have to save my negate for that card. That is the card that's going to be a huge impact to us. And I didn't even know he's a Mathmech player at this point, but because he is, Terahertz would have been huge for him. He could have done so much with that card. Yep, so let's see. Splash Mage, like I said, we're going to negate it because it has to be manually summoned, activated. And we've kept the negate for, you know, triple tactics. But that is pretty much what I wanted to just point out with deck lockdown. That game would have been over way sooner than like it was, because that was quite a long game, if I'm being honest. And I'd rather just go straight into my next game and, you know, point grind from there. But anyway, look, I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't want to take too long or too much of your time. But if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm probably going to do this semi-regularly, particularly when I get win streaks. It's good to show that the deck is doing well. And if I have any learning points, I do want to pass them on to you guys. But if you have any questions or anything you want to point out, you know where to find me. I'll be in the comments. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.